Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. Today we put the spotlight on the construction industry as we look at the integrity of buildings in the event of an earthquake. The focus is part of a comprehensive program by the government to reduce the risks if one should occur. The program includes earthquake monitoring and research in response to seismic hazards and their impact. Now, this process involves various state agencies led by the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM. Now, in studio is President of the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, Lenworth Kelly. Welcome to the program, Mr. Kelly.
Thanks for having me, Theo.
All right, let's jump right into getting some facts. Before we talk about earthquakes, structural integrity, I really want to get there, but before we do that, please introduce to our guest the Master Builders Association. Who are you?
All right, so the Incorporated Master Builders Association is the largest construction industry body which represents contractors, suppliers, service providers. Right. And we are an advocacy voice. We negotiate also with the unions for wages and working conditions in the industry. The organization is 70 years old.
Yeah.
And we represent also the industry and various committees of government. So whenever they're developing a new building act or codes or so on, we have representatives who we make available to sit on these various committees as government or the agencies desire.
I noticed you mentioned representation, not regulation per se.
No.
No. All right. All right. So let's talk some structural integrity now for an earthquake, right? What design considerations are taken into account when you're building a building and you're thinking this might get shaken by an earthquake?
Well, it's not might, but will.
Will, okay.
Yeah, so we are in a particular seismic zone, and same also for hurricane and so on. We get flood events. We are perhaps, I think, the third most vulnerable country worldwide to natural disasters.
Yeah, top three.
Yes, we're up there. So first you start with what you call analysis, what you want to put where.
Right.
And so you look at the location. Mm-hmm. Can the location take what you want? And this is for the engineers have to be there early, assessing ground conditions. Can the ground, to put it simply, take the weight of what you want to put there?
And if I can just interject right here, I'm thinking that you have what we would consider normal buildings and they have high-rise buildings.
Yeah. So the weight. So the heavier the building, then more analysis, and there are deeper considerations. There are other things you have to go a lot more detailed when you're going heavier. And so what you will normally do, you examine the topo certainly, or the land is, if it's hillside, if it's relative flat, if it's floodplain, the soil type, and then you'll do what you call a geotechnical investigation to determine the soil down below. Where can that soil take the weight? So when we're going larger buildings, you might see a big truck out there with a large drill-looking thing on it. That's an auger. They're just sampling, and they can go down 100 feet more if necessary to sample.
Right.
Right, and that goes back to the lab. Analysis.
So for the layman in me, you're saying like soil type at that examination of the toposphere. Soil type determines how well the building stands?
The type of foundation you should design for.
Okay.
Yeah. So but for like just residential housing, you don't go that in depth. You may do some test pits if you're not certain. If you're on rock residential housing, you're pretty much okay, because that's pretty much the soundest material you can build on.
Got you.
If it's clay, then the engineer will say no, you have to use different kind of foundation. You may use a raft or that kind of thing. So it's horses for courses, depending on what is for.
Horses for courses. I like that. So that's the area you're building on. What about what you build with?
Okay, so so in your design, you're gonna design And architecture comes in here, so you'd have a registered architect along with a registered engineer who would be doing the design. So the architect is the look, the function, the engineer is the stability, structural, the safety. Make sure
again that combination, architect.
Okay, so the architect is the aesthetics, the form, the function of the
Right.
building.
Okay.
Look nice.
Got you.
Engineer has to make that building stand up.
Ah, understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
So you can draw anything. You can draw anything, but it has to work. So usually it's a working together
Right.
of the professionals. And usually, sometimes, well, certainly economy comes in terms of cost. So you have another creature called a quantity survey.
Right.
So well, it has to fit the budget, that kind of thing. But you can't, the non-negotiable is safety.
Mm-hmm. So for safety in a high-rise building, and there are many people who are living in these new high-rise buildings going up all over Jamaica. For ideal safety in a high-rise building, what kind of materials we're looking at here?
Well, you classically in our landscape, you can go steel frame with infill. You also go what we call reinforced beam and concrete frame, or some flat slabs. There are some variations of it.
Right.
But that's traditionally what you'll see. Like if you're building in Jamaica, they'll say the concrete. I don't know about that building.
Right.
Steel, concrete and steel.
Yeah.
That's most common, but those aren't the only options available. But that's most common to us. Mm-hmm. And so the design, which is a bit more intricate and technical, once it's designed by the registered engineers and approved, and it's okay to go ahead and build.
I hear you're stressing the registered.
Yeah, no, it has to be. Because, anybody can turn up and say, I am this, I am that, and we're not quite sure what we're getting.
Right.
And you want, there are people who look at peer review, oversight, a different entity to review it. And that's also why we have regulators, because when the designs go into the municipal corporations, they should be reviewing those drawings for suitability.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. We're going to talk a bit more about the regulation and the state of construction in Jamaica. But, when we think high-rise, we tend to think town. Yeah. But I've been outside of town, and high-rises are going up in the hills as well. What considerations are we looking at there in these hilly areas?
Well, okay, so for hills, the considerations may vary a little bit, but that's in your investigative part, your analysis. What you're looking at, slope stability. There's a hillside development manual, which we recommend anybody going on a hillside, make sure you get that hillside development manual. I think it's from Mines and Geology.
Anybody has access to that?
You can get it. Anybody can have access. Okay. The stuff is out there now. The professionals know where to go and get it. Not necessarily the lay person, but that is something that would recommend that people certainly use. There are some areas not recommended because the slopes are unstable, that kind of thing. So even though you may use a type of foundation, you may go with piles and so on, but you still need roadways to access and all of that. Yeah. Unstable slopes, then, you're going to put your roads in, and some of your other civil works
I understand.
might be suspect, if you build in on certain types of slopes. So to kind of answer the question directly, you kind of use the same principle in terms of your analysis, your initial investigation, because that tells you everything, what you designed for. Right. So if you want to go out in the sea, your analysis will tell you what to do. You understand? Right. So it's wherever you are, you follow the same principle of analysis, and that guides your design.
And these guides that you have mentioned, they take into account seismic protection and structural integrity, and are updated ways of protecting against seismic activity? It's in the design. Codes change, codes improve. So if you have a national building code, which we now do,
we do, yeah. And that's modeled on the international building code. So we didn't develop a code from scratch.
Okay.
It's an international building code, and you develop your local applications, local conditions. You develop some specific areas are unique to, say, Jamaica.
Right.
And codes are improved because as you get more evidence, there's more research, there are more occurrences.
Yeah.
So you improve the code. So you don't just put the code, bam, we have a code. 50 years from now, that code would have been improved and require changes.
Understood.
Right. So it's an ongoing process, and the professionals involved don't necessarily have to be continuously educating themselves, continued professional development.
All right. We're going to go to a break right now, but we're going to come back and talk about some more of these things, especially the state of construction in Jamaica. Please stay with us. We're talking with Lenworth Kelly of the Master Builders Association, the Incorporated Master Builders Association. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Get the Facts. Our focus on how well buildings stand up to an earthquake continues with President of the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, Lenworth Kelly. Sir Kelly, we were talking about materials, areas. You gave us a pretty good oversight on how buildings are approached in general and high-rises. I want to get a sense, if you can give us one, of the state of construction in Jamaica. Would you say that we are earthquake resilient?
All right, so that one is still, let me just kind of make sure I contextualize.
Please.
We really haven't had significant seismic events, not since 1907. And I think that maybe I've been around something close to a 7. And if you look at like a Haiti,
Right.
we like 7 is like frequent.
Right, relatively frequent.
But we have been fortunate. So a lot of what we have has not really been tested. So one wants to, you have to be guarded in saying that yes. But as long as we build to design, then we should be good. But there are some concerns, and I want to just plainly
highlight a few of those for me.
Regulators, the municipal corporations, the agencies that should supervise. Because you may give me a good design.
Right.
I'm the homeowner and I say, boy, that's too expensive, I'm not building that. So I go ahead and I work up a thing and I build something like a cheaper, use less steel and so on. There is no supervision from the local planning authority, whether it be the municipal corporation or any other entity. But the supervision isn't there to ensure that I build what has been approved by them. But later on, I sell that house to you, Theo.
And I don't have any.
You don't know, you just come say the house nice, I buy it for, maybe 50 million or,
Mercy.
And then we get a earthquake.
Right.
Then what? Who do we blame? So we're saying we can't have gaps in the system. If it's developers and the developer is going to be selling apartments, there has to be something from that regulator that says this has been built in accordance with design, the materials have met specifications. So strength of steel, strength of concrete, all of these things have met these specifications.
Prior to building and while
during building, right?
Okay.
Because you have to use the right material.
Right.
And there should be some sign off to say, yes, we have done this. Because everything looks nice and shiny when it's new.
True.
It's when it's tested, we know. So I can't here say that we are resilient without there being evidence of that oversight in a general way. And I just want to make this point. In Haiti, most of the people died in their houses. Your home is not supposed to kill you. It's supposed to preserve life. In the event of a disaster so you can get out.
Right, right.
That's what it's for. And so we can say, because we're seeing steel and concrete and so on, we can say it appears so that we are building the right way generally, but are we really?
It has to stick to the standard.
It has to be to what's designed to code, it has to be inspected and has to be clearly certified as being such.
So more oversight. There's something you mentioned in the initial portion of our interview. We're stressing on the word registered when it came to engineers. Tell me a little bit about that process of ensuring that people are doing designs and enacting buildings are registered, and where does this happen?
Okay, so it goes for architects too, not just engineers.
Okay.
And it's coming for quantity surveyors, which should have been already because they are the people who certify the money.
Right.
Yet there's no law
Yes.
that regulates them. There's no law.
The quantity surveyor sources material too?
No.
Just the money?
They are the cost consultants. It's not just the money. It's not that simple.
Okay.
Right? But they are more like the cost consultants for the project. They certify that value of work done and for payments to be made. So that has to be dealt with post-haste.
Right.
Because they are not under any regulatory framework,
right,
which that can open a can of worms. So that should be urgently done.
Yeah,
but you have a registered architect, a registered engineer. In law, you hold these professionals to account, right? And there have been instances where if there's a faulty design, so to speak, then they have to take out what they call insurance, professional indemnity insurance. Because if something goes wrong, then it's the architect's it's liable, or the engineer is liable.
Right.
And so they have to be under some kind of law, some kind of regulatory context, so to speak.
That is in place.
Those are in place.
Wonderful.
Whether or not people are using them, that's the other issue. But in law, there are things that must be designed by them,
right,
and signed off by them. And we have long argued that, let us say, the parish councils don't have enough expertise to do the visits and the supervision themselves. There are ways and means of imposing in the conditions of approval to say, ensure that your design engineer and your design architect sign off at the different stages of the building that it's to code, it's to their design, it's as we have approved.
And
that will help the process. And you can
check against
that. You can check against these things.
Okay.
Right. So it's very important for our citizens to understand the importance of these professionals being registered, just like your doctor. You don't just turn up and go to a doctor.
Right.
You want to ensure that's a suitably qualified doctor. So that is it.
We're pretty much out of time, but I want you to give a word to those who are watching, especially, we've been talking about architects and engineers. So tell our viewing public how the average man and woman, can benefit from the Master Builders Association. How can they interact with you? Okay,
so the IMAJ is here to offer also advice to the public. We have a consultant in-house twice per week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's available for any questions you may have. You want to build, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to go about it, you're having challenges. And I would suggest that you come before you start. Don't wait until a problem turns up and then you come. Right? And that's free of cost to the public. We provide guidance, we provide rates, forms of contracts. People do not get into a scenario where you're spending millions of dollars and you don't have a written contract with a contractor. Don't do it. That's very dangerous. And so come in to us. We are here. We are available to answer your questions, and we can provide guidance on these things.
Thank you so much for that. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was President of the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, Lenworth Kelly. We want to thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.